We hope you enjoy listening to this podcast of St. Louis on the Air, brought to you by University College at Washington University. With undergraduate and graduate programs, part-time, evening, and online. University College at Washington University, offering world-class education within reach.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Don Marr. The year-long closure of the Martin Luther King Bridge has created a daily traffic nightmare for thousands of commuters, especially those traveling from Illinois to downtown St. Louis. Madison County commuters are especially affected. We're talking this segment about relieving the pressure on those commuters. Joining me in studio are S.J. Morrison, Director of Marketing and Planning for Madison County Transit and RideFinders. Clint Dougherty is a resident of Glen Carbon, Illinois, who works for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. He's been riding MCT to work for 9 years. Gentlemen, great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, nice to be here.
What a mess, huh?
It really is. And, any time that there are lane reductions across the river, it's going to create a burden on our bridges and highways.
Some, alternate routes have to be found. People are leaving earlier for work and all sorts of problems. Clint, what is your story?
Well, it's always a mixed bag, what you're going to see when you're on the road. Sometimes you have some random construction. Other times, you might have a broken down car on a bridge, which is always what's going to slow you down a lot. So, with some of this change in construction, it seems like a bridge is being shut down just about every other time you look around, every other year. So.
Yeah, in fact, I just saw this morning that MoDOT announced another westbound lane closure on the Poplar Street Bridge through October. So we're reducing more lanes, all the more reason why people should take public transportation or carpool.
Well, you sound like a man who's a marketing director for a public transportation outfit. So. How many people have been impacted, do you think, S.J., by this problem?
There are about 13,000 commuters who use the MLK Bridge to get to downtown St. Louis every day to work. And so literally thousands of residents. Obviously, because those residents have to go somewhere, those commuters, that's impacting the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Span as well, the Stan Musial Bridge. And so what we're encouraging folks to do is take advantage of our MCT Express service. We offer literally 31 trips from 16 communities in Madison County over to downtown St. Louis and 34 trips back. So it's direct, it's affordable, and it's frequent service.
Are the vehicles filled every day?
Not filled every single day, but certainly we have our peak times where we have a lot of folks riding the buses, and there's we've definitely noticed more and more interest, phone calls and emails from people just curious about how the service works, wanting to learn more so that they can not only save money but have a more stress-free commute.
Well, it can't be very complicated.
It really isn't. No, we've got a great website, sharetherightstl.org, which is sort of our landing page for providing information about not only riding the bus to downtown St. Louis, but also carpooling and vanpooling through the RideFinders program. And we have information also about the MetroLink as well.
Mm-hmm. Clint, what is your commute like now? I mean, compared to what it was before the bridge closing?
Well, it actually hasn't changed that much. The first day after the bridge closed, there was quite a big shutdown, and it took about an hour and 15 minutes, where normally it's about a 45-minute commute. Mm-hmm. I think people were adjusting and trying to figure out what their new routes were going to be. Depending on what time of day you go, it can make a difference. If you're really early, let's say at 5:45 a.m., you're going to see a lot less traffic, and it's not really going to see much of a difference. In the peak times, it does slow down a little bit. Today I rode the bus. It was about a 8 o'clock bus over, and it was about a normal 45-minute commute, so we didn't really see much difference there.
Although we call these vehicles express vehicles, given the fact that there is so much traffic on the road and there are all these other construction projects, I can't imagine that's a very fast commute.
Well, no, but it's as fast as they could drive in their own car, their single occupancy vehicle. And so, the logic is the more folks we can get using alternative modes, whether it's sharing the ride in a carpool or, sitting on that bus, our express buses have 39 seats. And that's, 39 cars off the road taking that same route. that's, an express passenger can literally save up to $350 a month, by riding an express bus to work. And so it's not just benefiting them as individuals, but it's benefiting all of us if there's fewer cars on the road.
How do you coordinate, or do you, I suppose you do, with Metro?
We work very closely with Metro. We accept all of the Metro fare products for full fare on our vehicles. We do planning exercises with Metro. We share data, but we also have transfer points at Metrolink stations, like in Emerson Park, at 6th and Washington, at the Civic Center, so that because many of our express passengers are going to points further west, whether it's Midtown, Central West End, Clayton, and so they can have a seamless connection from bus to train via Metrolink.
Tell me something about the planning for this. I mean, this didn't just happen. People knew it was going to happen. So how far in advance do you at MTC try to figure out how to best handle it?
We learned a few months ago, and so what we immediately did was try to develop a campaign to let folks know about their options. So we developed that ShareTheRideSTL.org site. Unfortunately, as traffic goes, some of it is on the fly. We obviously rerouted the buses to the stand span both in the morning and the afternoons, but we didn't know just how bad the stand span would be. Fortunately, it's been relatively clear most mornings, but some of it, yes, there's some planning that can occur, but others, we have to wait and see how things go and make some decisions.
Yeah, and you knew it was coming, Clint, long in advance. Could you do any advanced planning?
Well, I knew it was coming, but I think the benefit is, there is a number of different routes, times that I can take. And so, if something looks like it's going to be maybe not as good of a time to go, I can always leave a little earlier in the day or a little later in the day in the morning time and do as I need. But that first morning when it was first closed definitely was very clear. There's definitely changes happening, and people started thinking about it much more clearly that morning, for sure.
I want to invite our listeners to get into the conversation. If you're a commuter that is affected by all of this, weigh in for us, if you would. Tell us what you're doing and what you think ought to be done to make it an easier commute for you. 382-8255 is the number. That's 382-TALK. You can send us an email to talk@stlpublicradio.org or send us a tweet at STL On Air. Let's talk about ride sharing, if we can, for just a moment. I'm not sure that everybody, even though it's been around for a while, everybody knows exactly how that works.
Right. So RideFinders is the free carpool vanpool program for the entire 9-county St. Louis region. So Fenton to Fairview Heights, Maplewood to Maryville, and everywhere in between. We serve, and what we do is we provide a free ride matching service. So we help people find a carpool or vanpool to work or to class. And then we promote the benefits of carpooling and vanpooling. One of those benefits is the guaranteed ride home. What we frequently hear from people is, well, I'd carpool, I'd ride the bus, but what if there's an emergency? What if I have to stay late, leave early? The guaranteed ride home, we offer 4 free guaranteed rides home a year so that folks have that peace of mind. They know that, well, a taxi will actually come and get me if I have to leave early to take care of a sick child or what have you.
So that's basically how it's done. It's done via taxi. A taxi cab is called when somebody needs that ride home. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And we give a voucher so that they don't have to even prepay to the passenger. So it's a nice service, and they get 4 free of those a year if they register with RideFinders, which again is a free public service, provided by the Federal Transit Administration. In an effort to reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality in the St. Louis region.
Yeah. Well, what does it cost?
To rideshare?
Yeah.
It's free.
It's free.
Yeah. Our carpool service is free. It's a free service. There is a cost to those who would want a vanpool, but there would be 5 or up to 15 commuters in a vanpool. But if you're just trying to find somebody to carpool with, it's free. And we have 16,000 commuters in our database already.
And what about the express buses?
The express buses, it's $70 a month for one of our MCT system passes. Many of our riders will buy a Metro pass because they may connect to a Metrolink train. In fact, about a fourth of our ridership rides with the Metro fare product because they're either going to Metro or from Metro.
Is it worth it, Clint? $70 a month?
It is. To me, I did the math early on. That was one of the reasons why I decided to ride the bus. And I was going to save about $2,000 a year. And it was during a time whenever the gas prices were well above $3 a gallon. And, we usually see more people riding when gas goes up. And I know that it's definitely been useful for me. I get to do a lot of things in my free time as I don't have to think about traffic or worry about, navigating through congestion.
You can actually read the newspaper if you choose to on the way to work.
You can listen to NPR radio.
which is almost a must. Almost a must. We have a caller here. Dennis in Overland wants to get into our conversation. Let's have him do that. Dennis, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I told your answer there that I just tuned in. I'm a broken record. I really would like to see covered bus stops all across the St. Louis County and St. Louis City area to make it easier for people to use these buses. There's an attitude that buses are for the poor and the middle class, and what older people like myself need to come to grips with the fact that they're going to take the keys away. And it would be nice to have a rhythm to your life to where you could take a walk and go up and jump on the bus and do like you did when you were young. So I think that would be a selling point for you guys to start pushing the idea of keeping people out of their contour chairs when they take the keys away. So.
Boy, he brings up taking the keys away. That's a dramatic moment in an older person's life, needless to say.
No question. I can't speak for the St. Louis County area. Obviously, that's in the bi-state development jurisdiction, and we're Madison County Transit. But I do agree with you, Dennis, about the importance of having transit amenities, making folks feel safe, and in the event of inclement weather, covered. And so I agree with that, and we've tried to make every effort to make the transit experience as comfortable as possible.
Someone has put a note in front of me here asking about free Wi-Fi. Is that something that is part of the transportation process these days?
Yeah, in fact, I can fill you in on that. I mean, we have free Wi-Fi on the buses that I utilize just about every day. We've definitely been able to, they've upped their game lately. You can stream videos now, you can stream music, and generally it's good connectivity. You have your few opportunities or times whenever it doesn't work exactly as you want it to, but in general, it's a very good service.
SJ, in general, who are the riders these days? Dennis has talked about older people and he's talked about poor people. My impression is that younger people today are making much more use of public transportation.
No question. Yeah, our typical express rider is probably middle-aged millennials. They are professionals, evenly split between men and women, who are what we would call discretionary riders, meaning they have one or two cars in the garage. They're riding by choice because they want to, not because they have to. They're riding because it's an opportunity to save money, to take back their commute, to make their commute more productive again, and because they believe in the cause, whether it's the cause of sustainability or because they're trying to help create a stronger and healthier St. Louis.
And how has that changed it from your perspective? That is, from the transit company's perspective.
Well, one of the things that we're looking at doing is, in fact, it probably will launch later this year, is a mobile ticketing app where passengers will be able to buy passes on their phone, and a QR code will be generated, and they'll be able to scan on the bus, similar, to an airline. So you board, scan your phone, and then sit down. And so we are looking at ways to push into technology where we are, adding the Wi-Fi on the buses, I think, has made a difference. We're trying to make this, as appealing and as comfortable as possible for passengers of all ages. And, we've seen more and more that millennials are interested in this sharing economy. And so they're willing and kind of even excited about the possibility of sharing the ride to worker class, whether it be in a bus or in a carpool.
Who in the ride-sharing program, who's driving the cars? In other words, are they older people? They're clearly not necessarily the younger people, the millennials.
No, the carpools are driven by just anybody. So you and I, if we were carpooling, one of us would kind of split the time carpooling, and so it's somebody that you work with. It's somebody at your workplace that is willing to drive, whether it be 2 days a week, 3 days a week. You can split the time, but yeah, the drivers are actually
just people, just plain folks.
That's exactly right.
This is something I didn't understand. So if I'm involved in this, I might drive 1 week and the people I drive with would drive the next week in their car. Is that the way it works?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, really what we do is we provide the match. We provide a mechanism to help people find someone to carpool or vanpool with, and then we provide that guaranteed ride home benefit.
Clint, what would you tell people now, people who are maybe considering these options that we've been talking about here? Do a commercial for MTC and tell us how you would sell it.
Well, I would say that if you're kind of tired of having to deal with the traffic and frustrated with kind of the unknown of the day to day, whether you're going to run into stops or whatever, and you want to utilize some time that maybe you're not getting at home by reading or doing something else on your commute, ride a bus, get together with someone else and take advantage of that time, get a good book, find a good podcast, do something now that you can do and be productive with. Maybe for me, it's, doing some finances while I'm on the bus so that I can stay up. I got a little new son at home who's 3 months old. And so sometimes that bus time is the time I get to, go through the emails or just get some of the financial things in order. So utilize that time and make it useful.
30 seconds left. SJ, final pitch from you.
Well, with the MLK Bridge being closed, there's never been a better time to ride MCT Express routes to St. Louis, to find a RideFinders carpool or even a Metrolink train. And you can get more info at sharetheridestl.org.
We'll put a link to that on our website at stlpublicradio.org. S.J. Morrison, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Don.
Good to hear what you guys are doing. I'm sure it's helping a lot of people. Clint Dougherty, thank you for being with us.
Yes, my pleasure.
Okay, great to see you both. Podcast episodes of St. Louis on the Air available at stlpublicradio.org, or you can subscribe for free on Apple Podcasts, the new Google Podcast app, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. St. Louis on the Air, a production of St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU. Thank you for listening. I'm Don Marsh.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.